Hello, happy new day to you. It's Yadida. So, as I was sitting here, I was about to get ready to work on something, and I started to think about this topic. The oil is costly. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste the oil. I heard that a number of times last year. The Lord had me focusing last year and the year before on the widow. I feel like it's Second Kings 4 and 7, who the prophet asked her, "What do you have in your house?" And at first she says, "I have nothing." And then something clicks, I guess, inside of her mind, and she remembers that she's got this little bit of oil. And he starts to tell her to do something that makes absolutely no sense. He tells her to tell her sons to go borrow some vessels and not even to borrow a few, borrow a lot of vessels. And she goes back to him and he gives her another set of instructions to go in, shut the door behind you, and to start to pour. And as she's pouring, I firmly believe that she is in a supernatural, miracle working place with God because it didn't make sense. And sometimes in your life, the Lord is going to ask you to do some things, or He's going to put you in a position where it doesn't make sense to do what you're doing. You're believing God for something, and He's going to say, "Do this," or "Move here," or "Sit here and don't move because I'm going to send the answer." And you have to have enough faith to believe that He is going to keep you, that He's going to take care of you and your family in those moments when you don't have the means or the understanding, but he tells you to trust him by faith. And so she's behind closed doors with her sons. And remember, like she was in a dire situation. She was in debt, the creditors were after her, and she had lost her husband. She was a widow. She didn't know what to do. But she did something that was so important. A lot of us, right? When we go through difficult moments, sometimes you will be cajoled into isolating. Go ahead, don't tell anybody. This is embarrassing. You should be ashamed, right? This is the enemy. This is how he talks to you, how he talks to God's people. And the only thing that happens when you isolate like that is that you sit there and you think over and over and over again about what could have happened and why did that happen instead of what do I do now? Your mind has to be in a place where you have forward movement happening. Yes, we should stop to think about what could I have done different? Is there something that I could have done differently? And sometimes that just is, well, Lord, maybe I needed to wait a little bit more for you to give me the answer. Or maybe I needed to keep praying, but also to invite some people into this situation. Because when we isolate or someone's trying to even control you, it means that you're listening to that person and their voice becomes even bigger than God's, right? We don't want that. And so sometimes you have to literally say, okay, let me stop. This did happen. Acknowledge if there are spaces where we must repent. Lord, I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. Or maybe you knew and maybe you didn't. So we acknowledge that. It's I made an error, but Lord, help me out of this. And then you have to give yourself permission, as that woman did, to get up and to try to find out what am I going to do next. This is a reality that's happening, but there is also something else that God has for my life. This is not the end. This can be the beginning of a new day. I was looking at LA and I've been weeping, right? So, yes, I hear some people saying it's the judgment of God. I hear some people saying it's not. But one thing about it, I have felt a weeping inside of my heart for these people. And so I'm thinking about how some of them, there was a woman who came on and she had her little shades on. She said, "I'm going to rebuild." A lot of times in our lives, we have to rebuild. The past, it's behind us. We cannot change it. What's happening now, we have to sometimes figure out, okay, what can I do to make this better? If you're going through sickness, maybe there's another doctor, maybe there's a second or third opinion, maybe there's a natural a herbologist, a natural doctor, something else that you can do. Maybe somebody else has been through it and there's a support group so that you're not all by yourself going through things all by yourself. So she gets up. She does that. They close the doors and she's pouring. Pass me another one, son. Give me another one. All right, pass me another vessel. And she's pouring and she continues to do so. Okay, give me another one. I really feel like I know God added super to her natural, but I don't even think in that moment she was even really thinking about what she was doing. I think she was just in a faith moment with God. Because if she would have thought about it too hard, she probably would have stopped and said, wait a minute, how did this thing? And probably would have stopped pouring. But she needed to keep pouring in that moment. And so she continues to pour. And then she said, okay, son, give me another one. He says, well, Mom, I don't have another one. And then she probably came back to herself and probably looked around like, oh, from this little bit of oil that I had, all of this happened because she decided not to just look at her situation and say, that's it. Sometimes we look at a situation, you can't do it and say, that's a wrap, that's it. No. As long as you are alive and there is breath in your body, and it may take some pushing forward, it may take you having to encourage yourself like David, it may cause you to have to weep in the morning and then say, okay, Lord, I know there's an answer, and to start to move and to start to do something differently. If it's your business, right? If you're a coach, I'm a coach, right? So, or an author or a speaker, a motivation speaker, I do that too. You know, a woman of God who speaks a message of faith and of hope. If that's what you do, but you haven't been fully doing it, you know, you're just like, I do it a little bit and that's it. Here's what I found out. People come on your page most of the time, not everybody is trying to um, what's the word, like be somebody who just watches a monitoring spirit. Everybody's not there for that. Everybody's not a monitoring spirit. Yes, they are there. You got to plead the blood of Jesus, right? Pray against whatever it is that they are there for. Pray that the Lord will have mercy on them. But you got to think about the ones that came there because of what you carry, because of the gift that you've been given to speak to their life. Those are the people that you need to be talking to. And you need to be doing it in such a way that you are standing and doing a TED Talk, right? Don't wait until you get to the space where you're doing this TED Talk or you're speaking in front of thousands or whatever it is before you give it your all. No, don't be like that. The oil is costly. The oil costs something. Excuse me. So you don't let it be wasted. You get out there and you give it and you share it and you tell it and you do it with all of your might and all of your strength. Because what you have, especially to those of you who have gone through a difficult season, what you have is valuable. It means something. It costs you to be able to make it through that situation, through that fire, through the water. Isaiah 43 and 2. It costs you to not be able to give up when you lost almost everything. It costs you to be able to still hold your head up, even though sometimes you feel like holding it down, but you still got up. You still went to work. You still showed up in your business. You still created behind the scenes. It costs you something to carry your cross and to cast your cares before God over and over again when it got heavy, and not to give up. It costs you. So don't take light of the oil. Don't make light of the oil in your life or in someone else's life. The oil is costly. And some people almost made it by a thread. They reach what you call the end of your rope. And I love to say, when you reach the end of your rope, that's where the beginning of God's rope begins. When you get to the place where you feel like I am at the end of myself and I don't know what to do or how much more I can take, then you reach over beyond yourself and you grab hold to God. Now, we should be holding on to him anyway, but sometimes we were lied to. We were taught, especially, you got to be the strong black woman. You got to do everything by yourself. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. You can't do it all by yourself. And that's why you find sometimes that there are some people who they want to quit, they want to give up, they want to take their life. You do not do that. What you do is you surrender. You sit, you stop. You don't just let all those emotions just go firing off like that and don't do something and don't acknowledge. Your body's trying to tell you something. Your emotions are trying to say, pay attention to me, pay attention to you, to yourself. I know you're used to being there for so many people, but what about you? What about your heart? What about your mind? What about your soul? It costs something. Don't take it lightly. Instead of looking at the fact that all of this, oh my gosh, I want you to look at the resilience that you have, that you are still here, that you are still pressing forward. Yes, that you are resilient, that you're brave, but there's another level, there's another part that you have to press into. The part that says, I will not allow what I went through to break me. I will not allow it to cause my dreams to die. I will not allow it to cause me to give up on God. I will not allow it to make me look at myself as if I am less than, because I am more than enough. You're special. You're more than enough. Anyone who God makes is valuable. And so the oil is costly. Don't waste it. Don't hide because things aren't perfect and you know you're supposed to be speaking and you're supposed to be writing, you're supposed to be coaching, you're supposed to be living, you're supposed to be embracing life and knocking down walls and conquering giants. Do not live in fear. Get your confidence up. We are not wimps, we are warriors. Do not allow people to try to cause you to dumb down because they don't value or understand your worth. That comes from God, and that is precious. Don't make light of it. Don't do that. All right. So, make sure you subscribe. There will be more. I don't know what page I'm on right now. I told myself I was recording this so that I could put it up on another page, but it looks like I'm live. Anyway, as I continue to get this stuff straight, I am on Instagram. I am Yadida Span. The TikTok page is up, but I really don't go over there much. I gotta go over there and wake it up. Facebook is there, but I have every intention of pulling that Facebook page down. And I have started a Patreon because what God has given to me, I am thankful for it. It is valuable. All the things that He has brought me through. I know that people have told me that there were others who wouldn't have made it through, but if God meant for them to, they would. But I do not undervalue who I am as a woman of God, as a daughter of God. I do not undervalue my family or where I am. I don't undervalue the process or the journey that it took to get here. It's costly. It cost me something. And I appreciate God mostly for it. So don't waste your story, your testimony. Look at it as He has allowed you to walk with grace and faith. And now you really have something to share. You've got empathy at a different level than people who haven't gone through it. It's different. You have wisdom. You have a different level of weight to your voice. It's more powerful because you've got the backing of God. There's no way you would have ever made it through the things that you did, just like me, if it wasn't for Him. Do not waste your time hiding this year. You have something to say. I am talking to those of you, especially who have gone through the difficult season, and you have seen others and they were flourishing, and you've been looking and you're kind of like, man, what about me, as you were going through that valley, through that situation? I'm talking to you. What you got is important. How are you going to use it? How are you going to speak it? How are you going to use it as a testimony? How are you going to package it? What book are you going to write? Right? What course are you going to create? How are you going to coach and mentor and consult people through those things? Motivate them to be resilient, to show up at work even when they don't want to. Show them how to stand up. What are you going to do with what he gave you? It's valuable. Don't waste that. Don't be ashamed of your journey, of your story. I'm not ashamed of my story. I told it over on Unfiltered Stories. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. I have told it. I've been speaking with the mic in my hand and heard Tell Your Story Now. And I was like, oh no. Now it helps someone. It helps someone. And when you break the shame that the enemy tried to, oh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell, shh, hide. Don't do that. A lot of times when you're doing that, that shame is there. People say things like they want to take their secret to the grave. Why? Why would you want to do that? Somebody else needs to know what you've been through. Don't, it's costly what you've been through. It's costly. It's costly. The oil is costly. So don't waste it hiding. Not this year. We will not stand before the Lord and he says, what did you do with what I gave you? We will not do that. Get out here. It's not perfect. Do I look perfect? No, you already know that. I got dark circle in my eye, whatever. Who cares? Right? Get out there and do what you're called to do and stop wasting your story. It's important. Use it. Use it. All right? For the women, I'm going to start my coaching with friends. I'm going to do a mini workshop for you from the course. If you don't have the course, I will add the link after this somewhere, wherever I get to put this up. I want you to sign up. The course is highly discounted right now. I want you to get it because I want you to have that space. It became a safe space for women. And as the Lord gave me the lessons and the instruction for you and the strategies to help those of you who have been struggling with those limiting beliefs, with the you need that inner healing, you need that safe space, you need to be able to step forward, to be able to leave, to give yourself permission to say, yes, that happened to me, but I'm here. And I'll be doggone if it will not be wasted. You have to give yourself permission to say that and not to stay in a space of brokenness and hiding. We're not doing that this year. We're not. All right. I'll get that link up. Make sure you subscribe. And I'm trying to think what page I really want you to go to. I guess Instagram is okay. Between these two, this one and Instagram for now. And I'll get the Patreon link over to you because I'll be doing a lot of sharing over there and coaching over there as well. All right. God doesn't make junk. Don't waste the oil. I'll talk to you.